She dated Redd Foxx in secret. Now we know the reason. Nancy Jane Kulp was born on August 28, 1921, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She would later become one of the most distinctive and beloved character actresses of television's golden age, known for her towering presence, sharp voice, and impeccable comedic timing. Kulp's talent reached far beyond her most famous role as Miss Jane Hathaway on the Beverly Hillbillies. Nancy spent her early years in Mifflintown, Pennsylvania, before her family relocated to Miami-Dade County, Florida during her adolescence. A bright and determined student, she attended Florida State College for Women, now Florida State University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in journalism. Her keen intellect and strong ambition were evident from the beginning and would remain consistent throughout her life. Her academic interest led her to continue her education at the University of Miami, earning a master's degree in English and French. Nancy's passion for language and writing initially set her on a path toward journalism. She worked as a writer for a Miami newspaper and later joined the publicity department at MGM Studios, where she gained first-hand experience of the entertainment business. These early professional roles gave Kulp valuable insight into the film industry and eventually inspired her desire to appear in front of the camera rather than behind it. Her life took a dramatic turn during World War II, when she paused her media career to serve her country. In 1944, she enlisted in the United States Naval Reserve, demonstrating both courage and patriotism. She served honorably and reached the rank of lieutenant junior grade. This military experience shaped her discipline, leadership, and lifelong commitment to civic duty. Few actresses of her generation shared such direct service experience, and Kulp wore her Navy uniform with as much pride as any role she would later perform on screen after completing her military service. Nancy Kulp began pursuing acting in the early 1950s. Her distinct voice, tall frame, and unique charm immediately drew the attention of casting directors who sought memorable character actors. She started appearing in supporting film roles such as The Model and The Marriage Broker 1951, Shane 1953, and A Star is Born 1954. Though often cast as secretaries, spinsters, or eccentric townsfolk, Nancy gave each role individuality and depth, earning quiet recognition within the industry. Her career breakthrough came in 1962 when she was cast as Miss Jane Hathaway, the loyal and efficient assistant to banker Milburn Drysdale on the CBS sitcom The Beverly Hillbillies. Her performance was a perfect balance of professionalism, humor, and subtle romantic longing, especially in scenes opposite Max Baer JRB as Jethro Bodini. Kulp's precise delivery, physical comedy, and dignified reactions made her one of television's most beloved supporting actresses. The role earned her an Emmy Award nomination in 1967 for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series, solidifying her place in television history. Her portrayal of Hathaway became iconic, a character both strong and endearing, combining sharp intelligence with gentle vulnerability. Beyond the Beverly Hillbillies, Kulp's television presence grew steadily from the 1950s through the 1980s. She appeared in popular series such as Perry Mason, The Bob Cummings Show, Sanford and Son, The Love Boat, and Murphy Brown. Her ability to move effortlessly between comedy and drama showcased her range and professionalism. Kulp also lent her memorable voice to various animated projects, further proving her versatility as a performer. Even when her roles were brief, she brought a level of dedication and depth that made her characters unforgettable. Through the decades, Nancy Kulp became a respected figure in Hollywood, admired not for glamour or scandal, but for talent, intelligence, and integrity. Her presence on screen reflected years of hard work and discipline, the same traits she had shown since her days in the Navy. By the time The Beverly Hillbillies ended in 1971, Nancy Kulp had already secured her place as one of television's most refined and distinctive personalities. Nancy Kulp's personal life was far quieter than her time in front of the camera. On April 1, 1951, she married Charles Malcolm Dacus in Dade County, Florida, during the early stages of her acting career. Their marriage was relatively private, with very little public attention compared to the growing fame she would soon achieve in Hollywood. For nearly a decade, Nancy and Charles maintained a low-profile relationship, preferring to keep their lives separate from the entertainment spotlight. While Kulp was beginning to make her mark in television, she rarely spoke about her personal affairs, especially her husband, during interviews. Her focus remained on work. She was determined to be known for her performances rather than her private life. However, After 10 years of marriage, the couple decided to part ways. In 1961, Nancy and Charles officially divorced. The details of their separation were never widely discussed, reflecting Nancy's reserved nature. She chose not to address the reasons behind the split, and the topic seldom appeared in the press. Interestingly, the timing of the divorce came just before the turning point of her acting career. Within a year, she would secure her defining role as Miss Jane Hathaway in the Beverly Hillbillies 1962. The show's immense success marked a new chapter in her life, coinciding with her decision to remain single from that point forward. After the divorce, Kulp poured her energy into her profession. Her independence, confidence, and focus on career advancement reflected her inner strength and discipline, qualities that audiences later admired in her on-screen characters. Despite never remarrying, Nancy led a fulfilling and purpose-driven life. Committed to her craft, public service, and education, her approach to relationships was marked by grace and privacy, qualities rare in the celebrity-driven culture of Hollywood. Even years later, when questioned about her personal experiences, Nancy maintained her dignity and modesty, redirecting conversations to her work and the values she believed in through both her marriage and her life after it. Nancy Kulp demonstrated that fulfillment didn't depend on fame or companionship but on self-respect, independence, and dedication to one's goals. For many years, few people knew that Nancy Kulp had shared a secret connection with legendary comedian Redd Foxx. Their bond surprised those who later learned of it, not only because of their different backgrounds, but also because it had been kept hidden for so long. Nancy Kulp, known for her intelligence, wit, and quiet demeanor, came from a world far removed from the sharp-edged humor and nightlife that defined Redd Foxx's rise in entertainment. She had built her reputation through discipline and subtlety. While Foxx was famous for his raw comedy and outspoken personality, they reportedly met in Los Angeles during the late 1960s, a time when both were at the height of their television success. Nancy on the Beverly Hillbillies and Redd Foxx on Sanford and Son. Despite their public differences, they formed a private friendship built on mutual respect. Both were avid readers, socially aware, and shared a deep appreciation for art and humor that went beyond their on-screen personas. Those who later spoke about them described the relationship as one of deep understanding. For Nancy, Redd's boldness and honesty appealed to her intellect, while for Redd, Nancy's poise and intelligence offered balance to his chaotic life. Whether their connection was purely emotional or romantic has never been confirmed, but it was a bond that both protected from public view. At that time, interracial and unconventional relationships were heavily scrutinized in Hollywood. Both actors valued privacy and understood the risks of public exposure. Nancy, who never discussed her romantic life in interviews, kept their friendship discreet, while Redd continued to navigate his own complex personal life. Even after their connection faded with time, mutual admiration remained. Both passed away in 1991, leaving behind stories that surfaced only years later, stories of two artists who quietly shared respect and companionship beyond fame. Their relationship stood as proof that in an industry driven by image, genuine connections could still exist away from the spotlight. After stepping away from acting in the late 1980s, Nancy Kulp entered a quieter, more reflective stage of her life. She moved to a small farm in Connecticut, seeking peace and privacy after decades in the public eye. The rural setting gave her a sense of balance after years in Hollywood's demanding spotlight. During this period, she continued sharing her love for performance by teaching acting and drama to young students. Her lessons were deeply valued. Students often remembered her as a kind, insightful, and dedicated mentor who treated everyone with respect and honesty. Later, Nancy relocated to Palm Springs, California, a place known for its desert beauty and close-knit creative community. There, she became deeply involved in charitable and community work. She volunteered her time with the Humane Society of the Desert, showing her lifelong love for animals, and worked with United Cerebral Palsy, helping raise awareness and funds for people with disabilities. She also joined the Desert Theater League, staying connected to her passion for acting by mentoring young performers and attending local productions. Her years in Palm Springs reflected her generosity and enduring commitment to others. Though she had long left the glamour of Hollywood behind, Nancy found purpose in helping people and supporting the arts. Those who met her during this time often described her as humble, warm, and compassionate, far removed from the fame she once knew. By the late 1980s, her health began to decline. A longtime cigarette smoker, Nancy developed serious health issues linked to years of tobacco use. In 1990, she was diagnosed with cancer, a battle she faced with her usual courage and grace. She underwent chemotherapy, enduring its harsh side effects with quiet strength. Despite her determination, her condition worsened as the illness spread, and by early 1991, her health had severely declined. On February 3, 1991, Nancy Kulp passed away at the age of 69 in Palm Desert, California. Her death marked the end of a remarkable journey from a small-town girl to a respected Hollywood actress, educator, and humanitarian. Following her passing, her remains were returned to Pennsylvania, where she was laid to rest at Westminster Presbyterian Cemetery in Mifflintown. The peaceful cemetery reflected her quiet dignity and the grace with which she lived her life. Even after her death, Nancy's influence remained strong. Her performances continue to be cherished by fans of classic television, particularly her iconic role as Miss Jane Hathaway on the Beverly Hillbillies. But those who knew her best remembered more than her acting. They spoke of her intelligence, integrity, and lifelong service to others. Nancy Kulp's story was one of discipline, independence, and compassion. She lived through Hollywood's golden age without losing her sense of self. From serving her country in the Navy to breaking barriers in comedy and later dedicating her time to teaching and charity, she proved that success could be achieved with both talent and heart. Her life stands as a reminder that greatness isn't always measured by fame, but by the impact one leaves behind. And Nancy Kulp's impact as an actress, teacher, and humanitarian continues to inspire generations who discover her work and her spirit anew.